Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host and Around the Horn, Ray Flowers. Braun, yeah, he's a rich man. Now he's an obscenely rich man after signing a big-time contract extension with the Brewers here on Thursday. His contract will now run through 2020. He and Troy Tulowitzki are the only two players in baseball that have contracts that run through that date. The upshot for Braun is he'll now be paid $145.5 million by the Brewers to patrol the outfield for the club. Second biggest contract ever signed by an outfielder behind Manny Ramirez in terms of the average annual dollar value, about $21 million a year for Braun. If anyone deserves it, it's him. The guy's a remarkable hitter. This clearly means, in my mind, the end of the reign of Prince Fielder with the Brewers. There's simply no way that the Brewers can be able to afford paying Fielder that much money when they're dumping that much money into Braun as well. Remains to be seen when the Brewers move Fielder. Do they play the whole season out, let him go at the end of the year, or do they trade him in the middle of the season, give someone a huge boost in their push for the playoffs? Okay, let's go on to the situation with Logan Morrison. Now, Logan Morrison hurt his foot. He came out after the game and said, "Look, I know my arch is a little bit sore, but I'll be fine." Yeah, that's not quite the way it looks like it's going to go. It seems pretty likely that Morrison will end up on the disabled list. He's currently in a cast. He's on crutches. He's claiming he'll be back in a couple of weeks. This is all a very new report, so I don't know if that's accurate or even possible for him to return, but it seems almost a certainty that he will go on the disabled list, miss at least 2 weeks, putting kind of a damper on what has been a wonderful start to the season for him and the Marlins. Gordon, Beckham, Brent Morel. Lots of high hopes for these two guys in the Windy City. Morel was looked at as a third baseman with a good glove, a little bit suspect bat. Now, he struggled a little bit in the field, and he's won for his last 16 at the plate. Not going well for him. Looks like there's a decent chance that Mark Tien, who's still there with the club and getting paid, a pretty good chunk of change, I think around $5 million, might actually end up taking a lot of at-bats at third base. He's not the best fielder in the world, but he can at least hit. And that's something that the White Sox need a little bit now, with Adam Dunn and Alex Rios in particular really struggling. Back to Beckham, he too is struggling at the dish. 3 for his last 33. It's a 91 batting average. I think a lot of people overestimated Beckham's worth coming into this season. They looked at what he did at the end last year and were really excited. I'm not saying he's not going to have a good career, potentially make all-star teams, but I think Beckham still got a ways to go before he's at elite level talent that some people were drafting him as. I also wonder if he's ever going to reach the ceiling in terms of the home runs that some people have for him. I really see that inside-out swing and think Derek Jeter a lot more so than Dan Uggla. Gordon Beckham should be fine. If you can buy low on him, great. But again, hopefully your expectations were reasonable this year, because this slow start is going to make it very tough for him to post huge numbers this season. Ryan Zimmerman continues to be out with the strained the strained abdomen, an issue that goes all the way back to spring training. At this point, Thursday, he still hasn't done any baseball-related activities. Now, he's eligible to be activated from the disabled list next Tuesday. Obviously, very dubious that he'll be able to do that, considering he hasn't even started doing anything on the baseball field. You have to think he's probably at least 10 days, if not more, away from return. Nationals continue to be optimistic that this won't be a long-term issue, but again, it looks very doubtful that Zimmerman will be able to be back in the lineup next week. So if you're in a weekly setup, make sure you have another plan next week, because it doesn't look like Zimmerman's going to be good to go. Brandon Morrow, he is good to go. He's coming off the disabled list. He's had a forearm strain that's kept him out. He didn't look very good in his work at the minor leagues, but he's got a huge arm. Last year, amongst all pitchers that threw at least 100 innings in the big leagues, he led baseball with a 10.95 strikeout per 9 mark. In fact, that was more than a full batter clear of the next best guy, Tim Lincecum. Huge arm, huge upside. Questions with Morrow are staying healthy and the workload. This injury obviously is going to make the team even more careful with how they utilize Morrow. Don't know if that means we see big pitch counts for him going deep into games, but he's worth a pickup if he's out there on the free agent wire. The guy has a dynamic right arm. And then finally, oh, by the way, he starts on Saturday as well, so keep that in mind if you're in a daily league. Two other things finally. Number one, Bartolo Colon looked really good for the Yankees. I don't know where this quite came from. I'm not really buying into it either, but he threw 6 innings, gave up only 2 runs, struck out 7, looked very good. The Yankees definitely need starting pitching. He's got a chance to stay in that rotation. Be careful overvaluating Colon. Don't forget that it's been since 2005. The last time this guy made 20 starts in a big league season. And then finally, Willie Bloomquist, everyone's love at the start. Kay Adams and I have that bet on the drive on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. About 26 or more steals for Bloomquist. Well, he's really slowed down in that department. Over his last 6 games, he's only swiped 1 bag. His overall numbers still look great. But in those last 6 games, again, 1 steal, and he's batting a mere .214. Hopefully we don't have to get to a point where I have to say I told you so. So far, I think I told you so. Great Flowers, BaseballGuys.com. Thanks for joining me here on Around the Horn. Talk to y'all again soon.